What is up, everybody? Coach Juma here, and today we're going to be breaking down the step-by-step guide to help you break through any plateau in your weight loss journey. Before getting started in helping you break through plateaus and helping you understand what a plateau even is, because you probably don't know what it is, make sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell icon so you always get notified when we're dropping new videos, because we're dropping these on a daily basis and I would hate for you to miss it. That's our call to action. Make sure to do that. And if you want free stuff, there's free stuff in the bio, including Stupid Fit Fam community, nutrition manual, step-by-step guide to designing your diet, and Stupid Simple Cookbook, 30 plus high protein recipes to help you lose weight and increase your metabolism. Check those out if you haven't already, but if you have, you can keep watching. I'll allow it. This isn't going to go the way that you think it is, because the way you define a plateau probably isn't even actually a plateau. A lot of people will step on the scale and see the weight stay the same or go up after only 3 days of weighing themselves and freak out and say, oh my god, I'm in a plateau, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Too many people use the scale as their only form of progress, and because of that, anytime it's not continuously decreasing, they freak out and think they're doing something wrong, when in reality, they just haven't been patient enough. I'm not going to go on too much of a rant about the scale. I made an entire video about how you can actually use the scale properly, but I'm just going to summarize it really quickly. The scale is not supposed to drop every single day that you are on a diet. It should drop over time on a weekly average basis, but on a day-to-day basis, it is very normal for it to fluctuate up and down, and you should expect it to fluctuate up and down. When facing a potential plateau, how do you know if you're actually in a plateau? What your goal really is to become a smaller person. You want to lose fat. You want to become smaller. You want to fit into smaller clothes. You want to not look as big. The scale doesn't always tell you whether or not you're becoming a smaller person. Before you are quick to judge that you're in a plateau, you need to verify a few things first. How has your scale weight fluctuated over the last 2 weeks? You always need to wait at least a week, ideally 2 weeks, to officially declare that you are in a plateau. The reason being is because your body is pretty resistant to let go of weight. So it's going to do its best to hold on to the weight for as long as it can before it lets go. This doesn't mean you haven't been losing fat. It just means you haven't been losing weight. Your body will be letting go of fat weight and replacing it with water weight. So on the scale, it looks the same or relatively close to it. Over time, once it feels safe and ready to let go of that water weight, it will drop on the scale all at once. But you need to give it time for it to do that, and you need to stick through it for a little bit before you go changing random things around. So you're in a plateau if you've never hit a new low weight over a 2-week period. Your weekly average weight is pretty much the same for a 2-week period, and you haven't hit a lower high over a 2-week period. So maybe this week on a weekly average, you weighed in at 170 pounds. Your highest weigh-in for the week was 171. Your lowest weigh-in was 169. The next week, your lowest low was still 169. Your average was still 170, but your highest high wasn't 171. It was 170.5. Your body doesn't have as much fat, so it can't peak as high, and as a result, it's holding on to less fat and less water. So this is still a trend downward, still progress, and I would say you don't need to change anything at this point. Then you can check your tape measurements or progress pictures. If you have both, ideally you do. Especially if you are weightlifting alongside dieting in the gym, odds are you could be gaining muscle at the same time you're losing fat. And as a result, the weight isn't changing, but your body is changing. If your weekly average weigh-in is changing, your lowest low is lower, your average is lower, your highest high is lower, or your progress pictures show that you're smaller and your measurements have gone down, then you're not in a plateau. You can continue doing the same plan that you have been doing and still continue to see great results. There's no reason to change something that's already working. And having all of this data is incredibly helpful because it helps you make an informed decision as opposed to randomly guessing on what to do next or freaking out about the scale staying the same for 3 days. Because what happens more often than not isn't that the goal is off, but your execution of the goal is off. You need to verify that you've been still consistently hitting your macros over that same 2-week time frame. Sometimes if you've been dieting for a while and you hit a plateau, you just slip up for a few days without even realizing it. Cutting more calories from your nutrition goal doesn't negate your lack of execution of the original goal that you had and stopped following. You need to make sure that you're hitting those goals first. So verify that you're eating the calories that you say you're eating. If you say you're eating 1,500 calories a day, make sure that you look through your food logs and see that you're actually eating 1,500 calories a day. If you say you're hitting your protein markers, check the data to verify that you're actually hitting your protein markers. And if you have been, then you could go to the next step. If you haven't been for more than 90% of the time, which is 11 out of 14 days in the week, then you can go on to the next step, which is verifying, once again, are you measuring your food accurately? If you're just randomly logging things or have just been guesstimating all your foods, tracking more accurately can make a huge difference. In fact, this research report found that most people underestimate how much they're eating by as much as 50%. So that means if you think you're eating 1,500 calories and you're not measuring it accurately, you could really be eating as much as 2,300 calories. So taking the time to switch from guesstimating how much food you're having and actually measuring it with a food scale, measuring cups and measuring spoons, will help you be more accurate with your calorie counting and ultimately not be in a plateau in the first place. I like to call NEAT activity the silent killer of fat loss because a lot of people don't track it while dieting and as a result burn way fewer calories than they were burning pre-dieting. So you want to make sure that you have a consistently high step count of at least 7,000 steps a day. Anywhere between 7,000 and 12,000 a day is a good thing to aim for. If you don't know what your step count is, get a step tracker from Amazon for $20 and start tracking your steps and get a better accurate gauge of what you're doing. Because you could train as hard as you want, but 5 hours of training a week isn't going to replace 160 hours of inactivity in the week. You need to make sure you're still active and you're still moving as much as you can so that you can continue to burn calories, increase your metabolism, and lose weight effectively. If you verified that you're not making any physical progress, you have been hitting your goals, you've been measuring your food accurately, and you've been hitting your steps every single day, then you're actually in a plateau. You've given the plan enough time to work. There's a few things that you could do to come out of it. They really depend on what you would prefer to do. They're all appropriate plateau breaking measures for you to take to continue on with your weight loss and get to the next level. My top two most preferred ways are going to be a reduction in calories or an increase in activity through NEAT activity. So what this looks like is if you're already in a deficit, let's say you're eating 1,600 calories, I would say reduce your calorie intake by 5 to 10%. So that would be reducing your calorie intake by about 80 to 160 calories a day. It seems inconsequential, but it might be just enough for you to move the needle and break through that plateau. And you want to reduce your calorie intake from carbs and fat. You want to maintain that high protein number during dieting. It is by far the most important nutrient while dieting because it helps increase your metabolism, keep you satiated, and retain the muscle tissue that you have on your body so that you're losing only fat from your body and not muscle weight. If you're already eating pretty low calories and you don't want to change that just yet, you can opt to increase your NEAT activity, which, as we mentioned earlier, is the amount of steps you take per day. If right now you're getting 7,000 steps per day, adding on 1,000 steps per day is an extra 200 to 300 calories burned on a daily basis. If you can't fit in more walking in your day, you're already getting 10,000 steps a day, you're already at a pretty low calorie number and you don't want to reduce it just yet, you can increase your total training volume. So adding in extra exercises, maybe a training day. If you're only training 3 or 4 days a week, you can add a 4th or 5th day, adding in extra exercises at the end, just 1 to 2 exercises to really get some extra calorie burn. Or if you don't want to increase training volume, you can incorporate and add LISS or MISS cardio, low intensity steady state cardio or moderate intensity steady state cardio. If you don't already have it in, or if you do already have it in, increasing it by 30 to 70 minutes, whatever is comfortable for you at this point in time, will increase your caloric expenditure and help you break through a plateau. That could look like 10 minutes of extra cardio on a daily basis or 1 30-minute session sometime in the week as well. Now, if you're in a position where you feel like calories are already really low and you're already doing so much activity, then it might be time for you to take a diet break, which is an entirely different topic altogether that we would need another YouTube video for. But basically, you would be increasing your calories for a period of time just to allow your body to recover from the stress of dieting. Again, your body is resistant to let go of the weight, and it's going to do what it can to avoid that, especially if it's under a lot of physical stress and nutritional and metabolic stress because of the calorie deficit and training that you're doing. So taking a diet break for 1 to 2 weeks where you increase your calorie intake just under maintenance or around maintenance so that your body can get refueled and feel better again will help you break through a plateau after you jump back into the diet post-diet break. But here's the stupid simple summary on how to break through plateaus. Before trying to change anything with your diet or your training, make sure that you're actually in a plateau first. This doesn't mean that you've been stuck at the same weight for 3 days in a row. It means that your weekly average weigh-in hasn't changed for a 2-week period and that your body hasn't changed. You don't see any progress with your progress pictures or with your body measurements. Then verify that you're actually hitting the goals that you set for yourself. Are you hitting the calorie markers that you say you're hitting? And are you hitting the protein protein markers that you say you're hitting? Are you getting the steps that you say you're hitting? And are you measuring these things accurately, or are you guesstimating them? If you can verify that you have been hitting the goals that you set for yourself, then you can look to change the goals and break through the plateau. Whether that's through an increase in activity by increasing your NEAT activity, adding in 500 to 1,000 steps per day, or reducing your calorie intake by 5 to 10% from carbs or fat. If you don't want to, or you don't think it's viable for you to do either of those with your schedule or with how you're feeling, you can increase training volume in your week or add list/miss cardio by 30 to 70 minutes in a week. And if you're doing all of that, you don't feel like you could increase training volume, you don't think you could add more cardio, you don't think you could reduce your calories any lower, then it's going to be time for a diet break to allow your body a chance to relax, to allow you mentally a chance to relax from dieting and give your body what it needs for a short period of time. Usually 7 to 14 days is an ideal diet break time frame, so that it can be more willing to let go of the weight once you go back into a diet. But thank you for tuning into the video. I hope I helped you understand what a plateau is and help you make more sense out of the dieting process so you can have a more successful weight loss journey. If you have any questions about anything I talked about, comment them down below. I'm happy to answer all comments. And if you know a friend struggling with weight loss and is complaining about plateaus, send this their way so that they can have a smarter, simpler weight loss process. And until next time, stay stupid.